I happen to have a very good friend who's a very diehard Graham investor. He comes to Omaha and he's very well versed in Buffett and Graham and Munger, but though he's too overdosed on Graham, I'm trying to move him over to Munger. I'm making a little bit of progress, but not enough. So I told him in 2018 that, listen, I'd like to come to Istanbul. I know the food's great. We're going to have a good time. But I just want to visit companies that you have in your portfolio. Don't take me to companies that you don't have an investment in. And I want to visit the businesses that have the largest positions in your fund. And would you be okay with doing that? He said, oh, yeah, it'd be a blast. Okay. So I still remember the first day we were going to visit the first business. He tells me, Mohnish, the PE is zero point 0.1, not a PE of 1. A zero point 0.1 means that the company is going to earn its entire market cap in 1 month. I said, does it have hair on it? He said, yeah, it has a little bit of hair on it. I said, what kind of hair does it have on it? So it turns out it was one of the largest banks in Turkey. And they had been violating the UN sanctions against Iran. And they were facilitating all these transactions with Iran. They were not supposed to do that. And the US got wind of that. And they were really pissed off. And the CFO of the bank, who really didn't have a whole lot to do with all of this, it was the chairman driving all this, had come to the US to vacation with his kids, Disney World, actually. And the feds picked him up in New York while the rest of his family watched, and they put him straight in Rikers prison. And then Erdogan is calling Trump and telling him, you got to let this guy go. And Trump is saying, it's the state of New York that's going after this, it's not me. I can't do anything. They don't listen to me. And then in the meantime, the company is trading in the market, and the US is thinking of just taking them off the international SWIFT system and everything else. So I went to that meeting. It's a very well-run bank. And I told my friend, this is too much hair for me. I can't go there. Can we just take it down a notch? We can't be doing 0.1 PE. I said, at least take me to PE of 1. But what I found in Turkey is that there was very high inflation that was going to persist and continue, but there were a set of businesses which were not affected at all. In fact, some of them had tailwinds because of inflation, and the baby got thrown out of the bathwater. Like, no one was interested. But then I just looked at those businesses, and I had a lot of cover because my friend knew the families, knew where the skeletons were. I mean, he'd really studied these businesses a lot. And so I had like a great unpaid analyst on the ground. We didn't do a whole lot. I mean, if I look today, I made so many trips to Turkey. We have 3 investments. That's it. We have 3 investments in Turkey after probably having visited about 80 or 90 businesses there over the years. The 3 companies don't really have any correlation with Turkish inflation or anything else. In fact, one of them gets a tailwind from it because their revenues are in euros and all the costs are in lira. So they actually get tailwinds from inflation. And they were very strong businesses. So for example, there's a Coke bottler in Turkey, and they have a very good relationship with the Coca-Cola company. Coca-Cola company owns 20% of the business, sits on the board. And you can look at Coke bottlers around the world. The economics are very similar. They should trade at similar multiples. Everything is, if the growth rates are different, you can put different multiples on them. This thing was an outlier. And the Coke bottler, only about a third of their volume, maybe 35% or 40% was coming from Turkey. The rest was coming from things that have nothing to do with Turkey. They're the largest Coke bottler in Pakistan. I mean, they're the only Coke bottler in Pakistan, for example, and so it's huge volumes. So basically what I found is that there were a sliver of businesses there that no one was interested in. We invested in a warehouse company. I still couldn't believe it, but liquidation value was like 600 or 700 million and the market cap was 20 million. I just couldn't understand that. It was just crazy.